as you will know throughout our journeys, that I'm the logistical person. So I wanted to take some time out of today and just kind of go through some logistical things that I pack as we travel across the world. These are just some little tips and tricks things. It seems to have helped us throughout the journey and learning curve. So let's kind of start with one of the first things. One, we do bring an unlocked phone. This one happens to be a Samsung's Galaxy. We actually have iPhones normally, but the Samsung Galaxy was a little bit cheaper for the unlocked. It was about $150. And this phone is just a separate phone, in which what we do is once we get into an airport, typically we'll buy them at the airport a SIM card, and they're pretty easy to do. In this case here, this one has a little pinhole. You pop it out, and your SIM card goes right in here. And then once you're in, you just pop it back in and you're ready to go. The SIM cards have been they range anywhere from 20 bucks to 40 bucks to somewhere around in that area with unlimited data and text. Some countries we've had very successful with, I would say New Zealand, Australia, France, we've had very success with the data cards. The ones in Scotland, and actually we're currently here in Iceland, the one in Iceland hasn't been working as well with the data, but it does allow us to call ahead and do some other things too. We have had to turn on our data on our regular US phones as well too. So in the case of some trips, it becomes more of a supplement than its actual sort of your main phone. In other countries, it has become your main phone. I do have to say, going forward, I'm going to be on the fence of whether or not I'm going to get a SIM card or not, but for now, this is what we're doing. And again, we got the unlocked phone. This is just a Samsung. We bought it at Best Buy. It's about $150, and it's worked out pretty well for us. This is to weigh our baggage. We tend to like whine a lot, and we tend to overpack some, and so the weight of the baggage becomes important. So I travel with this. It's a pretty cool little thing. You can get it on Amazon, and you can do it in pounds or in kilograms, but you basically can weigh your luggage on this. So I take this everywhere I go. This morning, as we're about to leave out, I weighed our bags. We're at 45 pounds, so we're in good shape too. So I do recommend putting this handy thing in your backpack. It has saved us a lot of time and a lot of, angst as we're getting to the airport, and you see people opening up their suitcases and removing stuff. So we're never overweight with this little tool here, and it's pretty good. I would say it's within a pound or so, so you're in pretty good shape with that, but I would definitely recommend always traveling with this. The other cool little handy thing that we travel with is this is for all of our data cords, our SIM cards, and things like that. Again, you'll notice all my stuff comes off of Amazon, but this is really great. Todd and I both have one to carry on, and we just keep everything sort of organized in here, and it helps out tremendously as we're traveling from one place to another, or even on the plane too, as to what we can do. One of the other things that we travel with is a full charge battery pack. So if we're in the car, we're typically charging, or with any of our cameras or things like that, if we're out and about in the day, or our phones, if they start slowing down, we do have a battery pack charger. This is what Todd carries around with him. It's pretty lightweight, but definitely recommend getting this. It does a pretty good charge. It charges pretty quickly as well too. So this is just a really good handy thing to have. In Europe and other countries, they don't have grocery bags, and so one time we were in Germany and we bought a bunch of groceries, and they asked us where our bags were, and we're looking at them like, I have no idea what you're talking about. First and foremost, you're talking in German, and I'm trying to speak back and all of this. So it was pretty awkward for us to carry out our groceries without any bags. So now I carry this around. So this is a small bag, but inside this bag is a lot of grocery bags, and there's about 10 of them, and they kind of fold out to this size here. Very, very good, very handy. And what they do is you can put them in there when you go into the grocery store. You can just have them out, you're ready to go. Or even also too, is if we carry them around when we're walking around too, so then therefore we don't get all these extra bags if we're buying souvenirs or things like that. We just use our own bags as well too. And at the end of the trip, I roll them back up, put them in the thing, stuff them in the suitcase, and it works out very, very well. Again, these are on Amazon. I recommend doing that. They're super great for any sort of things, and they have saved us so many times. In the past, what we have done is we've brought our converters, and then we would bring a US sort of electrical bar that had the USBs on it, and be able to do that. It's actually interesting. That's worked out really well for us in France, in Australia, New Zealand, Germany, other places. We came to Iceland, and for the first time I put my converter in and I put it in my US bar, and we blew a fuse at a couple of our VRBOs. So it was actually interesting. Right before we had left, we had got a recommendation to get a different type of bar charger, which is on Amazon. We'll put the link down below. And it actually, which is great, is it already comes with a European plug in it. It also has adapters for the UK and everything else too. But I do have to say, I'm so glad that I bought this right before our trip. Had we not done this, we would have only had one adapter. We would have had to buy some other ones because we did blow the fuse with the US bar. So I think what I'm going to do is, going forward, is have a couple of these on hand. They have the USB chargers, they have the European plug, so it's the right voltage. And if I go to UK or some of the other ones, I can just use the adapter there too. We'll put the link again in this. This is from Amazon. Todd and I, we love technology, and technology runs our lives, but funny thing is, we actually do bring an iPod with us for our music. It's separate from our phones, which I know sounds a little crazy in this day and age, but what I love about doing this is when we're in the car, we can listen to our music, and when we get out for a stop or anything, we can just throw this in the glove box and we can have our phones with us, so we're not plugging, unplugging, plugging, unplugging, and the music kind of continues. So I actually do have to say the iPod has been actually handy for us, which I know is another sort of a gadget, but this is what we do. Our favorite travel guide is actually Rick Steves. We have most of his books. Every time we go to a different country, Rick Steves is the book that we buy. We do have it electronically. In this case here, we actually do have a paperback, but we typically have them electronically. We download them on our Kindles, and that's where we can use them, and Todd will highlight our different places to go. As for me, I immediately go back to the practicalities and go through all of the logistics or things like that. But we do recommend Rick Steves. He's a great guidebook. He's never steered us wrong in the past, and we always watch his shows prior to that. But Rick Steves is a good thing to do. Again, a little old school, and I know this sounds crazy. So what I typically do for our travel itinerary is I print everything to PDF and I save it to our Google Drive. So therefore, we always have access to it. On our open phone, our unlocked phone that we have, we make sure that we have our Google Drive on there as well too, and everything's been downloaded. It does sound crazy, but I actually do print it out in paper as well too. The reason why I've done this and I keep this in my backpack is there's been times at the airports and at customs where they want to know where we're going, and we can't turn on our phones, and we don't have access to the data. So for what it's worth, paper has helped us out a lot. Or if we're in remote locations and none of our data is working, this has helped too. I also carry copies of our passports in here as well too, as well as I have electronic ones scanned already. I don't actually have those on the Google Drive, and I'm just a little bit nervous about that, but I have them on a secured server. So I have our passports scanned and electronically. I do have them printed as well here too, and I have all of our itineraries. Little old school, and I can't believe I'm printing out this much paper, but we do this on every trip, and it has saved us as well too. And one of the most important things on the logistical side of things, which I always forget or sometimes remember, is our wine opener. We're big wine drinkers, as you'll ultimately find out throughout our journeys, and having a wine opener handy is always good, although half the times I forget them. So I think I have about 20 wine openers at home. I had to buy one again on this trip, but I do recommend doing that. I also bring a little paring knife that I pack inside, and that's for picnics and stuff like that, for if you want to have some cheese and crackers or some things that you want to cut open or things like that. So I always bring a wine opener and a little paring knife as well, and tuck those in our checked baggage, and then once we get ready to go, then they go into our, just to keep them in the car. And then a few other little things too. I do bring a first aid kit, a little bit of Neosporin, stuff like that. I always just think that that tends to help along the journey, especially if you're in a different country and trying to go to a pharmacy. One time we had a bad cut in Romania, and I forgot to bring some of the first aid kit stuff, and so it was a little bit stressful to try to get down to a pharmacy to find what we needed, some bandages and stuff. So I do bring a little bit of that, not overpacking, but it does help as sort of a peace of mind. And those are sort of the things that I have on the logistical side of things. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to more, and hoping that you will travel and live like a local.